Okay, so this is going to be an instructional slash overview video of this brand new 2026 model Chausson 650 titanium line. First of all, we're going to go around the external of the motorhome and then we will go into the habitation. So the first thing I'm going to show you is how to open the bonnet. Two reasons for this: one, so you know how to open the bonnet, and then two, in case you need to jump start the vehicle, I'm going to show you where the terminal points are. So how to open the bonnet: basically you do need to use your vehicle blade key. So get your vehicle blade key out and then you insert it at the front here, and you will need two hands for this, but basically twist to the left to number one to release, and then twist and hold to the right, use your other hand to lift the bonnet, and that releases the catch. So as you can see, we have now got access to the bonnet area. So if you need to jump start the vehicle for any reason, your negative terminal point is going to be that silver eye hook ring there, and then your positive terminal point is underneath this red cover here. Move the red cover and that is going to be your positive terminal point. Also under here we have got your screen wash fill as well. So now we are going to carry around the external of the motorhome. As you can see, this vehicle does come with an external awning, and you'll get sent on the email how to set up and use the awning. So we'll carry on the passenger side. So the first compartment we actually come to is going to be your diesel fill. So if you open the passenger door, you'll see at the side here, the passenger door does hold and secure the diesel fill in. So the top one is going to be your diesel fill, and then below that we do have your AdBlue, and there's just a little pocket here where you hold and pull. It's quite a hard pull, and then you've got your AdBlue fill. Your AdBlue is just a screw cap. Well, I have got the cab door open though. Driver and passenger door do have blackout blinds, and how to use these: all you need to do, pinch this little tab and then slide the blind up with a guide, just gently, and then when you get to the top, slide it down and then they lock into place like so. Same on the front windscreen. You need two hands for this. There's one handle here and then one on the far side. If you use two hands, you can lift it up, and there is a guide rail at the side there. You follow the guide rail all the way up, all the way to the top, and they hook into place at the top. To put your blackout blinds back, all you need to do is lift up, slide the blind back down, and then lock it into place like so. So the next compartment we come to is going to be your LPG locker. So in here you can fit an 11 kilogram tank. You can't fit the 13s, they are too big, they are quite tight, but you can fit an 11 kilogram gas load tank in here, maximum realistically, and then that will connect onto the gas regulator at the top on the left hand side there. That's a 1/2 inch thread. Because this is a brand new vehicle, it does come with an LPG hose. As you can see here, we are currently connected to mains hookup, so this is where you connect to when you're at campsite or if you're wanting to give the vehicle power. So this is powering, one, it's obviously charging the leisure battery, and then two, it's giving you your 3-pin sockets, 230 volt, and also it will give certain things in the vehicle power. This will have an electric ring on the gas, on the stove, sorry, and that will only work on mains hookup as well. As you can see, we've got a service hatch here. So on the left hand side here we have your 12 volt fuses. So the 12 volt fuses is run off your leisure battery. So if anything is blown on the leisure battery, it could be the USB charging points. This is where you need to come to. Could be the drop down bed as well, you could blow the drop down bed, but that is where your 12 volt fuses are located here. To the side of that we have your mains breaker. So this is when you're connected to campsite on the mains hookup. So anything on the 230 volt, so it could be your sockets, that trip, this is where you may need to come and check. To the side of that, we have your freshwater tank. So if you want to fill up your freshwater tank, we've got a little valve here, which is the maximum fill level and minimum. As you can see, there's a sticker here indicating how it works. So currently I've got it in the down position, and that means I can fill the freshwater tank completely full. Just before we do that though, directly underneath the motorhome, there will be a white tap, and that is a drain valve which is directly underneath the tank to drain the tank completely empty. So you need to shut the tap underneath the motorhome to fill up the freshwater tank. If that is open, basically the water will just pour straight out. So close the tap underneath the motorhome, take this cover off here, and then put your hose pipe in, and when water starts to come back out here, it is external from the vehicle, so it should drip out of the vehicle. Basically when the water starts to come back out, that means your freshwater tank is completely full. Put your cap back on, twist the nozzle back in, and that is all full. This little valve here is to drain the freshwater tank to a rough gauge of 20 litres for travelling. Basically how you do this, if the freshwater tank is completely full, what you need to do is lift this little valve up, and then what you would do is go to your control panel, turn on your 12 volt system, and then turn on the pump. The pump will then start pumping this water out, and then it will, if you watch on your control panel, keep pressing the dial, which gives you a level of a rough gauge. Once you get around to a gauge to around 20 litres, then you can stop pumping, just shut this valve again, and then you've got 20 litres for travelling around in case you need some water. Here we have your external shower point. So this is just cold, and basically it's a quick release connection which pushes on here, and to release it you will just, it's not going to work because I've not got the connection in, but this little brass piece here, you'll pull it and it will release the external shower point. And then on the shower head you will have a trigger. Again, you will need to turn on your pump on the 12 volt system because that will be pumping the water, and then on your external shower point on the head it will have a trigger as well. And as you can see, we have got a large locker. So you can fit obviously a lot of things in here. It's quite large, push bikes and stuff like that. You've got some shelving there as well. We have got some tie down points in the garage on the floor. As you can see, we've got bed ladder because it's got drop down bed in it. Got external silver screen. That is an optional extra as this vehicle has been fitted with the winter pack. We've got habitation carpets, dinette to berth because this is full berth for travel. So you get quite a bit of stuff with the Chausson. When you buy a brand new Chausson, you do get quite a bit of items. You even get a mains hookup cable and stuff like that when it's a brand new motorhome. In this garage though, behind this cover here, you will need to come here to get to this yellow valve. So that yellow valve is actually draining the boiler. So currently it's in its vertical position. So as you can see it now, that valve is open. You put it in this position if you want to manually drain all the water out of the boiler. So you want to do this, one, if you're not using the motorhome for a while. Two, especially if it's winter, you're not using it for a week, just drain it. Because basically you don't want that boiler to, we don't want to get a cold spell, the boiler to freeze with the water in it, expand in the cylinder and potentially crack it. If we want to fill the boiler up, how we do this is basically to shut this valve, knock the valve down like so, and then when you start priming the system through the tap, which we will get to, this will then fill up your boiler. If that valve is open like so and you're trying to fill up, your water will just pour directly underneath the motorhome and miss your boiler. So that is behind this little compartment here. So that is everything on the passenger side. Oh, the last thing as well for your boiler at the rear, that is a flue cover. So when your boiler is running on gas to heat up the hot water, you do have to take this vent cover off. So you just pull it from the bottom and it will lift off. It hooks on the top, pull it from the bottom, it'll lift off. You need to take this cover off when you are running it on gas, because this is where the fumes exhaust from. If you forget to take it off, you will fault the boiler and you will see a little red flashing light or solid light at the controls, which I'll get to. If you do forget to take this off because it's your first time, basically if you do fault the boiler and you realise, what you need to do is turn the boiler back off at the switch and then take this cover off. Take the cover off, leave it for about 10 to 15 minutes, let the air circulate in there. Basically gas would have filled in the boiler to try and ignite, so you're clearing out any excess fumes in there. Once that clears out, you will be able to then fire it back up and it will then heat up your hot water and gas. So now we are on the driver's side of the habitation. Again, we've got access to the garage as well. On this side, you got garage light. Always turn this off if you're not using it, as in once you're finished in the garage, make sure you turn this off. The reason I highlight that is because when you've got the control panel on, say if you've shut the doors, you forgot the lights on, if you turn the 12 volt system on, this is always going to be running. One, it will save battery. Two, it will save obviously the light. The biggest one is saving battery, especially if you're off grid. But then another one, you could actually, if this is always on non-stop 24/7, you could potentially burn this as well, because eventually it will heat up. So yeah, always try and turn that off after using the garage area. In the garage area, we have in the middle, we have a heating vent. So the garage is heated as well. So you can, there is a flappy paddle on that, but you can shut that off so the heat comes into here. But yeah, the garage is heated, which is great. We have got 12 volt socket, so 12 volt runs off your ledger battery, and we've got 230 3-pin socket. So if you want to charge anything in the garage, it could be electric e-bike. When you're on mains hookup, you can use the 3-pin. If you're off grid, you will be on 12 volt. So it could be to obviously pump up a paddleboard and stuff like that. And to shut these all the locker doors, you push it and basically push these handles in. That is still actually unlocked, and all you need to do is get your habitation key, put your habitation key in, quarter turn, and that will physically lock. If these handles stop pulling out, that means it's locked. But if these handles are out, that means it's unlocked. Here we have your toilet cassette. So if we want to take out our cassette to empty or clean, what we need to do is this orange nozzle tab here. Lift the tab up, slide the cassette towards you, and that will then release. And then if we want to empty this cassette, this orange nozzle on the left, twist it out to the left. Take this grey cap off and basically tilt up the cassette. All the fluids will flow out. If you want the fluids to flow out a lot faster, basically if you press and hold this button at the top, that lets air into the top of the cassette because it's like a vacuum. Press and hold it down and all the fluids will flow out a lot faster. Also, if you want to clean internally with a hose pipe, you can open the blade manually. Clean with a hose pipe. You can also put your chemicals or your Thetford sachets in there before you put it back in as well. And then all you need to do to put it back in place is align it, slide it back, and then the main thing here is just making sure that this orange lever is down secure, so then your cassette is not going to move in or out in transit. Directly below that, underneath, there is a grey handle there, and that is your grey waste release valve. And basically it's a push and pull rod, so currently I've got it pulled out, so the grey waste will be open. If I want to close it, push it towards the van, that will close the blade, and then your grey waste will be able to fill up. When you're ready to drain, grab the handle, pull it, and that will then release. Here we have external gas point. So if you've got an external barbecue, this is where you'll connect onto. Just remove this red cover, and then your quick release onto there, and then you have got a gas tap. So you need to turn on your gas tank for the gas to come through to here. And that is everything external wise on this motorhome. Like I said, you'll get sent a separate email how to set up the awning. We have got a fly screen. One thing on the fly screen though is if it's windy, get the fly screen away just in case you've got the door open. This is on a catch anyway, it's quite tight, but if the wind does get it, you could potentially swing in and derail the fly screen. So we'll start in here, and currently we have got leisure battery under this travel seat here, but you can fit 2 leisure batteries in the motorhome. I think one of them goes underneath the driver's seat and one goes in the habitation area. We got some light switches here which are doing ambient lighting as well, and then at the side of the habitation door when we come in, we have got your 12 volt control panel. So the green one, the top left, is your master on and off, and then the one next to it with the lights, basically that is your 12 volt system. So you need to turn the green one on, and then if you want all your lights or the USB sockets to work, you need to turn this on. If you don't want the lights on, you do need to manually just switch them off at the switches, but you do need to turn on this one for your 12 volt system to work. Like I say, or it could be your USB sockets, it could be the drop down table, stuff like that. So you need to turn the master on, and then this one. This turns all your lights on as well, as long as you've not got the master rocker switch off. Next one is your water pump. You only want to turn the water pump on when you've got water in. If you hear gurgling when you've turned it on, that means you've no water in the fresh water tank. But yeah, you only want to turn the pump on when you've got water in the tank, as you could potentially burn the motor out if you're running it dry. To the right is your external awning light. Here you can see like a green light with a plug socket. That is actually indicating I'm connected to shore. So that means this vehicle is getting charged. I am getting 230 volt power. If this green light doesn't appear when you plug in, it could be a few things. First one, check your campsite post. Sometimes the campsite post is tripped. It could be a faulty post, it could be a faulty cable, or you could check your mains breaker as well in your service hatch. On the bottom right, that is just the brightness of control panel. If you just press and hold, it will then dim or make these LED lights brighter. This one here is your fresh water level. So you press it, it will give you an indication here of a rough gauge. How I know it's the fresh water is because there's a little hole at the top. That means water can pour in. This one here is your vehicle battery level. So you press it, it will give you a rough gauge. And then the last one in the left corner, press it, it will give you a rough gauge, and it's your leisure battery level. These indications here, so again, your vehicle battery at the top, leisure battery. This one here is your fresh water. As you can see, it's flashing. The reason it's flashing is because it's empty. And the bottom one is your grey waste. Again, how I know that is there's a little nozzle at the bottom. That means water can drain out. If your grey waste is full, you will get a flashing light here as well. So that is your control panel. Here is your diesel heating. So I'm going to try and show you this the best as possible without it faulting. The reason it might fault is because we've no diesel in the vehicle, because this has been delivered straight from factory off the wagon. So basically, to turn your diesel heating on, press the top right and it will go to green. In the middle, you've got your temperature, so you can press enter and then use this dial to select your desired temperature. You can press enter again. The top one, you've got 3 modes: fan speed 1, fan speed 2 or fan speed 3. You can set, as you can see there, you can set it onto infinity so it will run all the time. And also you can set schedules on this as well. There is a, where is it? There it is. So you can set your Monday, Tuesday, a full week practically for a timer. Stuff like that. You can set the time to come on and off. You can do ventilation, so you can just turn the fans on. So you can just turn the fan speed on and basically that will just circulate the air. One thing to keep in mind when you do turn the diesel heating on, basically what it will do is you might see some flashing, your LED lights might flicker. The reason for that is because the diesel heating is firing up. In effect, it's a separate engine. Because the diesel heating is taking a bit of power to fire up, it will flicker the lights a little bit, and then once it's fired up, the lights will stop flickering, only about 30 seconds to a minute. And then when you turn the diesel heating off completely, again, the lights will flicker, the diesel heating will depower, but you will hear the diesel heating fire back up. And what that's doing is just doing an afterburn, just burning any excess fuel in the chamber. Right, so we will crack on with the habitation area. So as you can see, we've got driver and passenger seat, which swivel. If you want to release that, there's this little bar here, which releases the mechanism to swivel the seats when they are in the lock position. We're on the new Ford gearbox here. You got controls on the steering wheel and a large media screen there, which is great. We've got your Type-C point, charging point at the front there, and a 12-volt socket. Also as well for the passenger side, you've got 12-volt or USB as well there. We have got curtains, as well as your blackout blinds. Behind these curtains, there is, I'm going to try and show you the best side, right at the top, there is a little switch. Which we get a lot of questions of where this hidden switch is, but it's behind the curtains on each side. USB Type-C point. And here you can see we've got some keys. And what these keys are, the safety keys for the drop-down bed. So the bed motor is behind here. So the only reason you need to take this cover off, you pull it from one side, take the cover off, you'll get access to the motor. And basically on top of the motor there'd be a hex like bolt, and basically that is where you wind up and down the bed manually. The only reason you need to wind the bed up and down manually, the first one is because your leisure batteries run out. So a way to get around that, get some charging, you can start the engine or start driving to charge up the leisure battery. It could be a blown fuse, so check your 12-volt fuse system. Most common one is the fuse, but yeah, or it could be the motor that's physically failed, and you can still manually wind it up and down. It's very rarely the motor, it is usually the fuse that is blown first, or the other one is obviously leisure battery. But you take this cover off, you'll see the bed motor behind here, and you'll have a little tool which just clips onto the top, and then you manually wind up and down the bed. But these safety keys, you need to turn them on. Basically, it's because the controls are just down there, which we'll get to, underneath the sink. Because the controls are are there. Basically, if kids are playing around with it or you lean on it by accident, if this is in the on position, you could by accident make the bed come down. So these are the safety keys, you can turn them on and off. So I'm going to leave it on because I'm going to demonstrate the bed coming down. So here are the controls for the drop down table and drop down bed. So this one does the drop down table. So you'd only want to drop this table all the way down if you're actually converting the dinette to berth. And what that noise you might have heard then is basically there's plastic covers here which slide back into place when the hydraulic ram is going up. Because it's going down, they just slid all the way down to get to the bottom. But basically, if you're wanting to set up the dinette to berth, what you need to do is table support out, fold the table out, and then basically you will use the infill cushions which was in the garage, which will then create the double bed in the middle here. So that will create large double bed here. I think it does come out ever so slightly because one of the cushions does have support legs as well. So this converts into a large bed. So table's all the way down if you want to do the dinette to berth. If you want to bring the drop down bed down, bring it down, and basically what you need to do is gauge it from your ladder. So you put your ladder on and that will give you your height for the drop down bed and then obviously your dinette to berth, so there's enough room on both. If there isn't any extra passengers, just two of you, you could actually just bring the drop down bed all the way down to the base cushions, so then you don't actually need to use the bed ladder. So that is all the way down, which is great. Again, if you want to do that, you will need to lower that table all the way down. One advice we do recommend though is to take your pillars off. You can leave the sheets and obviously quilt on, but take the pillars off. The reason we say that is because the drop down bed eventually gets to the top and meets a contact, and if it doesn't engage with that contact, basically because the cushions are squashing, it will carry on and friction builds up and overpower the fuse, and the fuse will blow. Other option, you could leave your pillars on, but then you will have to leave your drop down bed a little lower. So if you are a tall person, you may bang your head a bit more. So you've got them two options, but we do recommend to make sure you take the your pillars off, just in case you forget and then do blow the fuse and then you're wondering why it's not working. So as you've seen, the drop down bed went all the way back up, and then all we're going to do now is lift this table up. I'm just going to slide it across so it misses them cushions, and then press and hold the button, and basically the table will go all the way up to the top itself, and then it will lock into place like so. So that is your dining table. Always bring out the support arm. We have got down here, there's a switch. What that switch does is for the underfloor heating. So this is part of the winter pack, so this is an extra, but basically you turn that switch on and it will heat up the floor. Just so you know, the floor, it's not all heated, it's wire pads on the floor, so basically it will take a bit of a chill off, especially if you're walking around in barefoot or in your socks. But that will only work on mains hookup. It's powerful, so it will only work on mains hookup. So that is really just going to take some chill off the floor. Like I say, it's just some wiring pads underneath, but that is part of the Arctic pack. We've got a travel seat on this side, so if you remove these cushions, as you can see here, it will release the travel seat. And how to lift the back seat up is using this knob. Twist it and it will lift the back rest up, and then basically what you will do is use the base cushion here as the seat, and then you'll use this back cushion as the backrest to give it a more comfier seating area. So you've got two of them, one on this side and then one on that side as well. Again, remake it up with the cushions to make up the travel seat. And then you've got there's a bit of storage under there as well, but that is where your feet would go if you've got the travel seat set up. 3-pin socket down there. Now we're on the kitchen area. We've got a 3-ring burner, 2's gas, 1's electric. Again, electric only works on mains hookup. We've got your knobs, your igniter. That will only work on your 12-volt system. That's again on the 12-volt fuses. Got a little pull-out heat plate here. So now we are going to fill up our system. So basically how we're going to do this, I'm going to do it dry to demonstrate. But basically what we're going to do, we shut all the drain valves in the motorhome. So we shut the freshwater tank drain valve underneath the motorhome, shut that drain valve, shut the 20 litre minimum level so we can fill it to the max. Once them two are shut, go to the garage and shut the yellow valve, which is your boiler. And then the last one is your grey waste. Push that towards the van and that will close. So shut all them drain valves. Once we have shut them, we will fill up the freshwater tank completely full with a hose pipe. Then we'll come to our control panel, turn on the master and then the 12-volt system, then turn on the water pump. And that will start pumping water from the freshwater tank. And basically what you need to do then is open your tap on the cold side, and that's going to vent out any excess air in the pipework. Once you get a steady flow of water, you can shut the tap. That is your pipework on the cold side primed. Now what we're going to do is twist it to the hot side. And on the hot side, when we open the tap, this may take about a minute, but basically it's going to take water from the fresh water tank and then it's going to go into your boiler first. It will fill the boiler up. Your boiler holds between 10 to 12 litres. It will fill the boiler up and then from your boiler through your tap. Once you get a steady flow on the hot side, shut the tap. Your pipework, your boiler is all primed, ready to use when you need. The only thing you need to do is it's not instant hot water. You do need to boil that water, just so you know. How to boil that water? Above in the kitchen cupboards above, we have got 2 control panels here. So this one on the left is when you're running the boiler on gas. So turn on your gas cylinder, remove the flue cover at the back of the motorhome, and then we will turn it on to gas. If you put it on 50 degrees, this will potentially fault in a minute, so I will turn it off, but you do get a red light here. If there's a solid red light here, that means the boiler is, there you go, that's faulted because there's no source there, no gas. But you've got 50 degrees, rocker switch off in the middle, rocker switch down, 70 degrees. On 70 degrees, it will heat that hot water on gas probably in 10 to 15 minutes. On the right hand side, we have electric. So this is when you're connected to mains hookup. You can heat up that hot water on, you got the lowest setting at the top. I think it's 1 kilowatt, and then you've got off, and then the high setting is 2 kilowatt. On the lowest setting on electric only, it will take probably about 5 hours to heat up because you're using an element. On the high setting on electric only, it will probably take about an hour, hour and 10 minutes to heat up. So if you want that hot water faster, turn your gas on, get it fired up on gas on 70 degrees, it will heat up a lot faster. But that is your control panels to heat up the hot water. Here we have got your large fridge freezer, and this is a compressor fridge. So this runs off your leisure battery, so you can leave this on all the time unless you're obviously not using the fridge. But basically when you're driving, your engine will split charge your leisure battery and then start charging, charge your engine battery, and then will split and start charging your leisure battery. You have got solar panel as well, which will trickle through. and then obviously on mains hookup that will then top up the ledger battery as well. But basically, to turn your compressor fridge on, press the power button, it will fire up like so. And then you've got two settings. You've got your temperature here. So if you want to change this, just use this little dial at the top. So the more blue lights, the colder it will get. The less blue lights, the warmer it will get. So if it's first time going out in the motorhome, get it fired up and get it high as possible just to get it cooled down as fast as possible. Once you've put chill stuff in there as well, that will help it and maintain the cold. But basically, once it is at an ambient temperature you're happy with, you could actually just turn this temperature down to halfway, because it will maintain itself quite good, because it is very insulated. Here we've got a night mode. Press night mode and basically that runs the speed of the fan a lot quieter. So if you're a light sleeper, put it on night mode and it will reduce that fan noise as well. Simple as that. 3 buttons, 2 things to do. And then want to turn it off because you're done, press and hold the power button, it will then shut down. Simple as that. And then the last thing, we have got your integrated toilet and shower cubicle. In effect, your shower cubicle is separate, so you've got like a mini ensuite realistically, which is great. So we've got your toilet. If you want to use your toilet, what you need to do is use this blade. This blade opens the cassette. After use, close the blade so no smells come back up. Down here at the back, the blue button is your flush, so you press and hold that. That will use fresh water from the freshwater tank to swill the bowl. You do need your 12 volt system on for the pump to work. And then there's a little symbol at the side, what looks like a toilet cassette. That will light up orange/red when the cassette is full. So when it lights up, that means it's full, and it means it is full. Don't carry on using it. Basin tap, you won't need to vent this. Once you've done the kitchen tap or one of the taps, when you lift up the tap, it will vent out any excess air and then it will get a steady flow again. Got your light switch here. You got some holders here, which come with 2 glasses, so toothpaste holder and stuff like that. Got a bit of storage in here as well. Same behind the toilet. And then we have got your large ensuite shower cubicle. It's probably one of the largest cubicles in a motorhome and it's great. Got access here so we can get into the garage if we want to without going outside. And then we have got, to finish your walk-in wardrobe off, we've got this large space which is great. You've got drawers on each side, hanging space in the middle, loads of storage. You've got a shoe rack here as well, so you've got plenty of storage in there, which is great. So that is the instructional video complete of this brand new 2026 model Chausson 650 titanium line. If you have any more questions, leave a comment below, or you can always drop us an email or give us a call